Madam Speaker. I'm talking about the American soldier, the American Marine, the American airman. Those people, and the sailors too, and in particular the Seabees that are on the ground, that are playing soccer with the Iraqi kids and handing out candy and nurturing them and saving children and saving their lives and teaching them a little bit of English and learning a little bit of Arabic and being part of the cultural exchange. Those are the people that are earning the peace, and their lives are on the line, and every one of them is a volunteer. And they want to complete their mission, Madam Speaker. And so this brings me to a message that I received in my email, and it's dated, actually it's misdated. I'm going to say a couple of weeks ago that I received this email, and it's from a Captain Sean P. O'Brien, 5th Battalion, 25th Field Artillery, 4th Brigade, 10th Mountain Division, a forward operating base somewhere in Iraq, and I'll not divulge that location. I've watched as an older boy and then a young man, Sean O'Brien, grow up and learn the patriotism and the cost of freedom and know that some had to serve and some would sacrifice, and he volunteered to do so. He's a decorated veteran. He received a Purple Heart in Afghanistan and went back into the theater of war, and now he's there in Iraq. And he sent this email to me, and Madam Speaker, I'd like to read it into the record. Captain Sean P. O'Brien. Hello again from Baghdad. I'm not sure what is going on in the news these days, but I'd like to offer another perspective. As important as it is to the media to sensationalize a story, the nuisance of these attacks is just that. If there was ever a time that we were taking the wood to these jerks, it is now. The few that are causing the problems, and I mean the few, seem to be cut off, and they are fighting like it. They are making incredibly huge tactical errors, and their support seems to wane very easily in the face of the coalition and Iraqi security forces' resolve. I've seen with my own eyes the bravery of the Iraqi army. They really are fighting for their country, and they are making the kinds of sacrifices we like to remind ourselves of our own heroes. The Iraqi police, not as successful, but still holding their own, especially when they know that we've got their backs. I hate this job. I hate being away from Dawn and the kids, but I love seeing the enemy's cowardice and the inconsistency disintegrate into their death when they are met with deliberate and disciplined prosecution. They push teachers and kids out of schools and fight from the schoolhouses. They arrange coordinated attacks from mosques. I suppose as any insurgent would, their best weapon is a booby trap. By the way, a person who revolts against civil authority or an established government is an insurgent. Please note, established government. The largest share of the attacks has been aimed at anything that represents the government, not so much coalition forces. Our mission is to protect the populace. The populace wants to be safe, and they demonstrate it. The Iraqi army is getting stronger every day, and they give their lives for it. The enemy is very reactive and therefore easily predicted. Something to think about. We are not leaving here. No one has told me this, but I do know that over the last 60 years we still have troops in the following places: Korea, Japan, and Germany. What's the difference? Hazard pay? Only a rhetorical question, he notes. And Captain O'Brien goes on. All countries are now contributing culturally and economically. Is the sacrifice any different now than it was then? Was it worth it to help them out? Is it worth it now? To leave this place would be the same as standing by idly watching your neighbor's house burn to the ground. It is irresponsible and it's morally wrong to ever consider such a thing. Freedom is so important. It's one thing to say it. It's another completely to watch someone die for it or for someone else's. All citizens and all governments are obliged to work for the avoidance of war. However, as long as the danger of war persists and there is no internal authority with the necessary competence and power, governments cannot be denied the right of lawful self-defense once all peace efforts have failed. It is personal. The enemy wants to kill us because we are Americans. There is nothing else they want. They hate us They hate who we are and what we represent. There is nothing to offer an extremist except extreme measures. However, all of that is just an effect. Is it moral to fight an effect and not a cause? Yes, when your inaction means a population will suffer for generations. The real issue to consider is possibly, what is there to gain by a destabilized Iraq, and who is to gain? At the end of the day, the evaluation of these conditions and for the moral legitimacy belongs to the prudential judgment of those who have the responsibility for the common good. That is you and me, the American. And back to the destabilizers. Imagine a few of these cowards kidnapping a loved one of yours, beating them, and then filming your loved one on their knees. You hear the words Allah Akbar chanting in the background, meaning God is great, and then you watch these hooded cowards saw the head off of your loved one with a dull knife. Fear is their only actual weapon, and this weapon is not effective in the face of a self-aware citizen army and populace such as the Americans, and soon as the Iraqis will be. Interesting that Senator Obama wants to immediately sully the prestige of his sought office by offering an open meeting to those who want our nation to burn. To give away the store is the best analogy I can think of. No matter. Captain O'Brien goes on, I have faith in the American people not to allow that conflicted man to represent the United States in any way. So naive, yet the amount of naivety seems to demonstrate that his intentions are calculated. You should be proud of our Joes and Joeys over here. All are still giving some, and some have and are going to give all. But don't mourn them. Honor them and understand the sacrifice they are making and for whom they are making it. Have a great day. It'll be good to come back when we are done. Captain Sean P. O'Brien, 5th Battalion, 25th Field Artillery, 4th Brigade, 10th Mountain Division, Baghdad. Madam Speaker, that's a sample of the emails that I get. That I think is the most profound one and among the most compelling. And I think it tells the body and the American people what goes on in the minds and the hearts of our uniformed soldiers, airmen, Marines, and sailors over there. And as I look them in the eye on that soil, and they ask me, how could anyone consider calling us home before we finish our mission? And they repeat to me that they're all volunteers. Every single one that serves in that theater is a volunteer. They volunteered for their branch of the service. They have, in doing so, that period of time that they have signed up or re-upped for is certainly a period of time in which they knew that they were likely to be deployed over to that part of the world. They're willing to put their lives on the line for our freedom and our liberty and for our posterity, Madam Speaker. And for us to sit back here and argue that we're tired when they're the ones that are fighting this war. What has America sacrificed? We sacrificed some of our sons and daughters. We've given them a great deal in Iraq and around the world. Blood and treasure is priceless, and blood is far more priceless than treasure. We have given them a great deal, but the price that's been paid to by the individual American is small in comparison to what's being paid by our military that are standing there in their uniforms, volunteering, saying, let us complete our mission. Let us be victorious and then come home. Let us leave a legacy of freedom in Iraq and in Afghanistan and across the world. And think what the map of the world looks like.